one of the strangest, most ballsiest, craziest trades to have taken place ever in NFL free agency. The Cleveland Browns made a trade with the Houston Texans, and essentially what it is the Browns paid for some draft picks. Now, here's what the Cleveland Browns get. They get a second-round pick and Brock Osweiler, and they take on that contract. The Texans, they get a fourth-rounder, and they save a whole lot of money on their cap space, which allows them room to shop elsewhere for a quarterback. Who knows who that'd be? But, man, tell me what you thought about this trade, and did you go through, like, this kind of roller coaster ride of, like, wait, what? Who? What?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did. I was at work, and, like, I had my Apple Watch, and I can't have my phone out, and I'm like, oh, ESPN, let's see what happened. And I'm like, what the fuck?
I did pretty much what everybody else did. Everybody was like,
it was
Adam Schefter, please explain to us what this means. I was watching online, and Adam Schefter, everyone was asking, like, break this down for us. This doesn't make any sense. Yeah. And he had to, like, slowly break it down. Like, this is what it means. Nobody really understood it at the time.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that. At first, I was like, I didn't understand it at first, and I was like, so why did the Browns trade for Brock Osweiler? They don't want him. They have great draft picks already.
That was my first
they're going to get a. Remember, me and you talked like the day before. I was like, I think the Browns are probably going to go and get a quarterback in the draft. And, that's another video. We'll go in detail. But I was like going into detail what I think. And now that happened, I'm like, my mind was blown. I was like, what the fuck are they doing? And then, like you said, then that next report came out. And they started explaining, okay, the Browns are thinking about doing this, like cutting him. And I'm like, oh, well, let me look back at the trade and the details. Oh, they got a second-round pick? Wow.
I literally went, they're so fucking stupid. Typical Browns. I thought I had better fun. I was having actual, like, respect for Hugh Jackson. And then I'm like, oh, they're geniuses. Yeah. Holy shit.
It was honestly, and you'll agree with me, I think this is one of the best, ballsiest trades and probably most genius trades that we have seen since Jimmy Johnson with the Cowboys.
Since Jimmy Johnson, I was exactly what everybody was thinking about that. Like, looking back to Jimmy Johnson, where a trade goes down, everyone's like, "What are you thinking?" And it's like, because the Cleveland Browns. Now, who do you think actually won this trade? Like, is it the Texans? Is it the Browns? Because I personally think both.
Yeah, you stole the words. I literally wrote both won. Because, first off, Houston needed to get rid of that piece of shit quarterback and get rid of that fucking contract that they're stupid about giving out. That we all knew. Me and you talked about last week. Like, what the fuck were they thinking?
They had to get out of that situation.
They had to. And why not dump it to a team that can absorb that contract for a year? And Browns, they got a second-round pick out of it. Okay, we'll take that cap hit 1 year because he doesn't have any more guaranteed money, I think, after this next year. So they take on that contract, pay him, be done with it. He's off the books. I think they're going to cut him anyways if they can't find a trade partner. So I think both won. I don't see any losers in this trade.
Nope, because Texans, they completely got out of that quagmire that was the Osweiler trade. This allows them for cap room space to make something happen for Tony Romo or something, and I think even if they would have known for sure that they weren't going to get Tony Romo or any legit quarterback, I think they still would have made this trade because they had to get out of that contract and they get a fourth rounder out of it. And the Cleveland Browns, like you said, their cap space is so ridiculous. They have so much space. They easily were able to absorb that shit, and to get these draft picks as well as some of the other draft picks they got. Let me check this out. All right, so here's the draft picks for the Cleveland Browns in the next couple of years. In 2017, they have 2 first rounders. They have 2 second rounders. They have a third rounder and a fourth rounder. In 2018, they have a first rounder. They have 3 second rounders. They have a third rounder, and they have 2 fourths. And that's just the first top 4 picks. They have a lot more picks to go out of that.
Yep,
So,
there's still 3 more
but
rounds.
in the top 4 rounds, that's what they have this year and next year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. And I look at it like this. Like,
That's a Belichick type move.
oh, yeah. It's a genius move. And I look at it like this. Like, I know people are like, well, Houston, how did they win? They gave up a second-round pick also. Well, Houston's not in a rebuild stage. They have a great defense. They have a pretty good offense. All they're missing is a good quarterback. So give up that second rounder, free up that cap, and go after Romo.
Because they're in a win.
Some other free agent quarterbacks.
Because they're the way they're looking at it in 2017 season. They're looking at it if they get a good quarterback, Tony Romo, who knows, especially Tony Romo.
Oh yeah.
They feel like they can win the Super Bowl next year. Next season.
Number 1 defense. J.J. Watt wasn't even there, and they had the number 1 defense.
Yep.
And they have some of the DeAndre Hopkins who could not get on the same page with Brock Osweiler. And they still have some good young receivers, Will Fuller, Braxton Miller, and obviously Lamar Miller.
Lamar Miller.
They have phenomenal talent. So they're like, fuck it, let's try to win this year. And I think it's smart.
So, one of the craziest trades we'll ever see, and I think it was absolutely great for both teams because usually in these types of deals you would think there'd be a massive loser, but it's so complex, it's so crazy that it works out both. It works out great for both, and I'm glad for both teams because it's just gonna make it more fun. So those are our thoughts on the Browns and Texans trade. Thank you for making the free agency period fucking very, very interesting during this offseason. For more of our videos.
And also, if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe.
Yes, please do so.
Do it.
Now.
What he said.